Hey everyone, how are you? This is Alex on another episode here at South Offices. In this case, we have a special guest, Carrie Williams. Carrie, thanks for joining today.
Thanks for having me.
Um, no problem, no problem. So as we usually do in this episodes, the idea is to know you a little bit better, to know what you're doing, and talk about things that we have been discussing in other calls that I think that are going to be interesting for our audience, for people that are watching in the future. So let's talk about a little bit about what inspired you to start your own business. I also want to know um, about your background, and yeah, what made you start see sure numbers after working, I understand, for a long time in banking, right?
Yeah, 22 years or more. So, yeah.
Okay. 22 years in banking, and what made you say, all right, this is sufficient in banking, and I think I want to go this other route.
Well, banking changed. That's the bottom line. It was when I first started, it was very customer centric. It was based on what the customer needed. You would, you know, work with the client, specifically the customer, and find the product that fit them. That
Okay.
changed. We started to have sales numbers. We started to have goals. We started to have, and it became more about the numbers and meeting our target numbers on different products than
Hmm.
necessarily what was best for the client. So that care level changed coming from corporate, and I did not like it. It put a lot of pressure on
Okay.
me. It put a lot of pressure on staff. It put a lot of pressure on, location where you worked had a lot to do with it. And so I just became, I don't, disillusioned is a good word, maybe, or disheartened. And
Right.
so started looking for something else to do. I mean, I had a lot of knowledge, so I could have gone to another bank, but it would have been the same thing. So
Right.
I decided to just try something different and take those skills of working with people that I enjoyed. And I did a lot of community education work when I
Hmm.
left the bank. So moved right over into teaching. They needed a business teacher at our local high school where I had also graduated from. So it was a natural fit for me to segue over to that for a while. And I did that for a while. So
All right. And why started a bookkeeping firm and not just put a bakery or do something else?
it was a natural fit, I think, after teaching, which that I did that for 6 or 7 years. Then an opportunity presented itself that I couldn't turn away. Someone approached me and needed help with their bookkeeping and accounting and could not find someone that they trusted, number one, and that was the price point that they were looking for. So I just kind of naturally segued over into that with my husband's support and encouragement. And I was self taught. So
Right.
for a while, and then I found a program that I really enjoyed and got in with that on the ground floor. So I was the second graduating class, I think, from that program.
Okay.
And
Which
so
program was it?
that was Bookkeeper Launch, it's called now, with Ben Robinson.
Bookkeep.
Yeah,
Oh, all right. All right.
yeah,
Bookkeeper lunch.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, actually, I remember I went to the last event. When was it? Not last year, a few months ago, in Orlando. We were talking about BKX, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, perfect.
So that was
Uh,
fun seeing that business just evolve and grow into what it is today. And
right.
Ben's a great guy, and that's a great program. I would recommend it. It's very thorough. Um, so that's what I did. So my business, I have a business degree in administration and then a concentration in finance. I don't have an accounting degree, but I don't need an accounting degree. So for what I do,
Right.
so it just naturally segued into a bookkeeping business.
Okay.
So
Okay. Makes absolutely sense. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing that, Carrie. And let me ask you about, since the moment you started seizure numbers, like what were the yeah, from your perspective, like the biggest challenges you faced of having your own firm, things that, yeah, the biggest challenges that you can think of right now.
So I was a solo firm for a long time,
Hmm.
and then rapid growth. We took on a huge client, had to hire a part-time employee, so that was always a challenge. Getting systems in place was a challenge of workflow and being consistent. Pricing's always a challenge. Time is always a challenge. There never seems to be
Obviously.
enough time, so there's a lot of challenges with it. I grew the business quickly. Within a year and a half, I think I was clearing six figures plus a
Hmm.
year, like netting it out. So but it was a monster, and there's a couple other advisors out there that call it a monster business, and that's really what it was when I first did it. And it was overwhelming, it was stressful, and yeah, no, just no. So
Yeah.
you hear people say, oh, I wish I could burn it to the ground. I did that. I literally burnt it to the ground and ditched clients that were just too much. I
Right.
wanted simple, I wanted easy, and I had the financial ability to do that. So I had that runway, I had that safety net, I had that small, simple lifestyle that allowed me to be able to do that. And best thing I ever did. So
Let me ask you this. I know this is a hot topic, and I have been discussing this with yeah, many people in the industry. Not only industry, actually in other industries is something that I guess all human beings we kind of handle. And now you mentioned it was overwhelming, stressful. How can we handle yeah, basically not being burnt out, or how would you, I understand that with what you're saying, maybe in some phases you had to deal with that. I wanted to know your experience, and I don't know if maybe there was a valuable lesson, or something that you learned, that you wanted to share, because I this is something that it's happening to, I guess, all of us, and it's not only in this industry. It's all human beings, I would say.
absolutely, yeah, we all go through that period of burnout, and we're looking for change or something. We know something's not right. Something just feels a little off. So I think it's
Hmm.
more so since 2020, we're all reevaluating things and thinking through what's important and what's not. So that's a big thing, taking the time to just be still and to sit. That's hard to do. We go on vacation, it's an active vacation. We think we have to go and go and go and go. And so I learned to sit. I think pandemic 2020, that craziness should have helped us get to that place where we had to stay put. I learned to love my house. I learned to
Right.
love what I had. I wasn't striving. In fact, I simplified more from there. So, because I realized that the stuff is not what's making me happy, so, and content. So, learning that and figuring out what that is for yourself is a huge piece of it, right?
It's hard. It's hard to agree more with what you said, and I think it's so logical when we are talking like this, about this topic. But maybe when you are there and you say, all right, I need a vacations, but when you go on vacations, you say, okay, but I just want to make sure that all my clients are all right, and I'll take my laptop, and then you're not actually enjoying your vacations.
Right.
Uh,
Oh yeah,
uh,
I did that for a while. We, traveled and would bring it. Oh, I'll work on the road, where that's just it works, and my business is set up to be able to do that. I don't have an office. I'm completely virtual. And I
okay.
have a business partner now. That was another thing that I decided to do, was to bring somebody on, and it's 50-50. So, or I should say 100-100, but um, we share responsibilities, and she does what she's good at and I do what I'm good at. And that took some pressure off, combining our firms together. So that was a good decision. But I want to be able to walk away. So putting the systems in place that you can walk away is a huge piece. And putting systems in place without throwing, like, I don't throw people at a problem. So I don't
Right.
hire. My last thing I would do would be to hire, because,
Okay.
yeah, and that's what I teach my clients when they talk to me. And I do a lot more coaching now than I do compliance. And then we can
Okay.
talk about that a little bit more. But I don't throw people at a problem. I throw technology at a problem first to see if I can solve it with a piece of tech.
Okay. Now that you mention, I'm actually interested. Talk to me about compliance and or yeah, coaching and compliance. Well, to tell me a little bit more about that.
I think that goes over to what I think the customer needs, or what we think the customer needs as accounting and bookkeeping firms, and then what the customer wants. That's where we
Right.
go with that, right? And we had talked about that a little bit. So what the customer needs, we know they need compliance. We know they need to file tax returns. We knew they need to do their periodic reporting with the government or the entities that be. We know they need that. We know they need, or they should be organized. We know they need to have good cash flow, but it's not what they want. So they don't see that. So they want freedom. They want security. They want peace of mind. They want those things. So it's like we're looking at things from, they want ease. They want it to be easy. They don't want to spend a lot of time on their numbers, all those things, right? They just want to do what
Right.
they do best, which is where I come in and we figure out how I look at it from their perspective, not from my perspective. And the banking
Okay.
piece really helped me with that, I think.
Okay, and this is something when you're talking with clients, you can say it as straightforward as you've just said that to me, to us, like, hey, all right, what you're looking, what you want is peace, which I agree, which I agree, but sometimes I don't know how. I mean, you say this directly to them and they agree, or how's that process?
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's convoluted. A lot of that I can deduce or infer by our processes that we have, our workflow. On a new client, they have to fill out a questionnaire even to talk to me one on one, to do our
Okay.
discovery call. That's just our steps in the process. And that if they go through those steps, I know that's the right fit. Or that I'm going to take the time to talk with them. And then during that talk, I'm really probing, right, to find out. A lot of times they'll come because they know something's wrong, but they don't know what it is. A lot of
Right.
times, so there's the fine balance. But most of them want a trusted person to go to with a question. Yeah, they're going to go to their buddy that sits next to them at the bar, or their friends that they hang out with in the neighborhood, and they're going to ask questions. But then they need a filter. So they need someone like us that has experience and knowledge and has seen a lot, to then help them to take all that noise and filter it for what works for them and what doesn't. So that's where we come in. We have more knowledge and experience than we think we do. We think all we know is numbers and compliance and making things balance on both sides. No, we know a lot more than we think. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's and that's exactly what clients want, and if they actually understand that you're able that you actually understand what they're looking for, I think that would make yeah, to have like a long-term relationship with them, and yeah, continue working for a long time, because if they can rely that, hey, you are there, and you can help me with this issue. I don't want to, my business is something else. I want to be concentrated in what I do, and I can rely on, in this case, see sure numbers. I think that's great.
Right. And I think, with our clients, they have a business because, why do they have their business? Well, to make money, of course, but what is that money for? It's to use with their family. And so I
Yeah.
think we forget that. we try and keep everything so separate, but it's very integrated, right? I mean, like as an entrepreneur, I'm sorry, you're always thinking about your business. It doesn't matter if you're sitting watching a football game or if you're watching or whatever you're doing, eating dinner, making dinner, you're still always, I don't know about you, but it's always something there, right? As a business owner.
Absolutely.
So knowing and realizing and keeping in the back of my mind that whatever happens in their business directly affects their family, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. Um, that always helps with the conversation. They want a better life for themselves. They want a better life for their family. So how can you help them achieve that? Which is why we're changing again, shifting, right? So from compliance driven, because I'm sorry, that's a price drive to the bottom. We're all competing on price and I'm not doing that. So how can we be a little bit different? Well, we're changing up, right? We're doing a lot of coaching with a little bookkeeping on the side. So that's where we're moving to.
Okay. Talk to me about this because I'm interested in coaching. You mentioned this that you're actually now doing more coaching. What type of coaching? How does it work? I'm curious to.
Well, there are frameworks that you can use, and there's multiple. So you have to just really kind of do a little bit of research and figure it out how you want to frame it out, what type of client you want to work with. If you want to, stick to a niche that you maybe your firm has a niche, well then stay in that niche because you know it, right? Maybe there's a certain type of client you want to work with. So you have to kind of figure those things out, and then you have to kind of figure out how there's a lot to figure out, right? But we're always doing that. How do I reach new people? How do I bring in more clients? How do you do that? So it's the big difference is that coaching is subjective, whereas we like numbers, black and white. This is this goes here, this goes here.
Correct.
Even though we know that's not always as black and white as we think, but it's moving from that linear thinking and that have to a subjective thinking where you're listening. You're more of a listener now. You're helping the client to figure out for themselves what's best. You're helping them bounce ideas. You're helping them think things through. You're helping them make wise decisions. You're always helping them to increase profit. We talk about margin is what you're really helping them to increase margin, because margin means more in their pocket. So, right, always, it's not your net, it's the margin, right? You can net out to nothing, but and still be broke and have this huge monster business. But so we always talk about margin with the clients. We really focus on that. So that, but it is a switch. It's a switch in your thinking. It's a switch in your confidence. It's a switch in your priority. It's a switch. It's just a switch. But I'm not competing on price anymore for compliance work.
Okay.
Right?
And let me ask you this, Carrie. How does it work? Like clients come directly to you and they say and they know and they are aware that they need coaching, or they ask or you start conversations and you realize what they really actually need. In this case is coaching, and maybe you start talking about something else, and they ended up getting coaching. I'm just curious how it's like. I guess the sales process, or how you shifted to start doing more coaching.
Okay, so for current clients, look in their books. If you're doing their books, you can probably see where are they going to get their education, their training, you can see that they're paying for a BNI, they are paying for a coach already, they are taking courses, trying to get themselves learn what they need to learn. You can see that in their numbers, and so you already know you have an opening.
Okay.
When you talk to them, like I talk to my clients, my compliance clients, at least quarterly. Some, depending on what package or what we put in place. So I can see that. Some of the clients I talk to monthly. So you can also start small. If they don't, you could ask them on a compliance side, when you do your meeting, do you have a budget? That's a
Okay.
great way to start for us as accountants and bookkeepers, is helping them put a budget in place. Or would you like me to run a budget based on your numbers so they can kind of see where things are at, right? There's that margin again. So, there's so many ways that we can start just to start to help them. And we call it a spending plan. We don't call it a budget. I don't like that. It's a negative
Okay.
connotation. We
Spending
call
plan.
it or a growth plan. Like it could also be called a growth plan, right? So you're helping
Growth
them to
plan
grow.
sounds even better. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's real positive. So that's a big thing, is just to start to look at, what do you see that you could just add on, a small add-on that you can do for the client, and it increases your margin on the client, because the budget is very simple to do, whether you're using QuickBooks or Xero. It's an easy add-on for you. It's not an easy add-on for them. It's an extra report. It's an increase for you, right? And it's one of the most effective reports they're going to get. So that's a simple way to start, but with your current clients. Start with your current clients, because they already know, like, and trust you.
Absolutely. So yeah, I understand it's gonna be harder. Or has it ever happened to you that someone is reaching out for the first time and say, "Hey, I realized that I might need some coaching directly," without you seeing at the numbers first? That happened to you?
It has, and we have some things in place. When I go and I speak at different locations, or just out and about talking with people,
Right.
I'll say, check me out, or let's have a chat, or go through this process and come over and let's have a chat. Let me see what's going on. And we do a program that's very affordable for even a new business owner, that they can get a diagnostic on what they're already doing. And then so I go in, they'll give me, it's amazing. People will give you access to their books.
Absolutely.
They want to fix the problem. So they're not, you're not touching their bank accounts or anything like that. You're just looking at the numbers, right? So we do a program there. And then that also, when we get together with the client after that occurs, and it takes me between 15 to 30 minutes to do it. It's not hard for me to do. Getting with that client then for a 45-minute chat, oh yeah, you're going to see things that you're going to be able to offer to them, and they're going to bring things up, because you're going to have a question on, well, what is this based on, or what you're going to ask. So it's a natural flow for me. But I have a lot of training in that too from the bank, and how to find out what a customer needs that they're not saying, what they really want. There we go, back to that want and need. This is what I know they need. It's not what they want. How do we bridge that gap?
Right. And now maybe after this podcast, people in the future will hear this and they say, "Hey, actually, I might need." So feel absolutely free to reach out to Carrie Williams at Seashore Numbers. Okay, perfect. Let's talk. I wanted to ask you about achievements or uh, m- milestones you consider while here at that it could be from maybe a personal point of view or from a business point of view or whatever you want to say.
Right.
Achievements you got while starting as a solopreneur and now having this bookkeeping firm that you consider important. Maybe they're not in. Well, tell me what the first thing that comes to your mind.
I think just taking that step of starting was an achievement. So I think there's a lot of accountants out there that feel like they are working for someone else, and they're afraid. So getting over that fear to take that step, was huge. Hitting that net six figure was huge. And then using that to be personally out of debt. Like we have no debt, no mortgage, no nothing. Doing that in less than 3 years. Like we bought our house and paid it off in less than 3 years completely, is huge, right? And then creating that cushion so that when I wanted to make a change, I had the ability to do that. So they call it a runway sometimes, right? Where you have that cash cushion. So
Right.
I'm modeling for my clients what to do also, right? As we're doing things. I think would say another achievement or another milestone was burning it down because I didn't like it. Burning literally, I burn it down. So to I went from multiple six figures to literally $1,000 in recurring. I burnt it to the ground on purpose. Took that time,
Interesting.
refilled my tanks, did a lot of soul searching, and then came back with a different perspective and a different mindset and a client centric and helping servant mindset. And the, the clients just started coming again. And they were better clients and they were the ones I wanted to work with. And I love my clients. There's not one client that I go, ugh, I don't want to talk to them. I love them all, whether it's a startup or it's someone that's, making millions. So I love them all. And that's the place to be. I never and I can honestly say that there's not one that I just go, ugh, there isn't one. I love them all. They're great. We have good
Uh,
personal relationships. It's always more personal than business when we chat. So that's huge. Right.
Um, that's it's great. It's inspiring to hear, and I was kind of surprised that you mentioned that as this last one as one of the achievements of milestones, because usually you would think, okay, no, that's definitely not an achievement, but if after being burnt out or after realizing that you're doing or you made a mistake, then we can learn and change and improve for for the future versions of ourselves, if that makes any sense.
Right. Right.
It's definitely a great milestone. And yeah, it's always I guess important when we make mistakes, because we all make mistakes, but if we can learn a lesson of why we got there, and from now on, if I face the same scenario, if I can do it differently because I already learned, I think that's definitely a great achievement, and I'm happy that you mentioned that, because I couldn't agree more.
One more milestone that I have to mention was taking on a business partner, deciding that was the good way to go. A lot of people say, don't do that. Don't do it. Just sell your business. Or I didn't want to sell it. I like what I was doing, but I found someone like minded. And like I said, she's good at certain things. I'm good at certain things. And we decided to combine. And that was 2022, I believe. And it's
Okay.
been a very good thing because either one of us can step away. We have support within ourselves, with each other. We can go to each other with questions and concerns. We can work to our strengths. And that's been a very, very, very good thing. So I would say it was also a milestone and definitely an achievement. So I want to throw that out there if you're getting burnout, if you don't want to do it on your own. I didn't want employees. So that was another way to go because I knew I needed someone else on the team. So now I have someone and again, it's 50-50. So we profit together, we lose together, we struggle together, we cover each other when there's an issue. It's just we celebrate together. So it's a good thing. So I would like to encourage people to think about that. But you have to be careful and you have to really pray to find the right partner.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's key to find the right partner. How was this process? Was this something that you were looking for? You found this person and you realize, hey, I think there could be a lot of synergy working with her. Was something I don't know. I want to know a little bit more about that, because sometimes we spend a lot of time, and then we if we are not convinced, maybe I would tell you, don't move forward. Then again, as we said, we can all make mistakes and learn, but I think that's a decision where in the moment that you take the decision, you have to be 100% convinced. How was in your case? Was this something that you were looking for a few years? You met with her. To tell me a little bit more.
So our relationship grew and started to flourish at a XeroCon, where
Okay.
we met and connected through a mutual friend. And thanks, Amanda Aguilard, for that connection. But
Okay.
um,
Thanks, Amanda.
yeah, but it was something that just grew as our friendship grew. So our friendship grew outside of that. We still would chat about different struggles we were having, and we were each other's like buddy, I guess, inside Zero. When we had got stuck, we would reach out to each other and say, how do you do this? How do you do this? And then it just kind of morphed into where we were both kind of struggling a little and both knew we either needed to hire or something had to change. Either we needed to, one of us needed to quit and go work full time, or something needed to change. And it just kind of was like, hey, let's try this. So
And
we
it worked.
already knew, and it worked. Now the whole
And it worked
process,
perfectly.
now that process of taking two firms and combining them was ugly. I'm going to tell you that right now. It was very stressful, and of course we did it in January, duh, during tax season, which we
Of
shouldn't have
course.
done, But so it, yeah, that part. I bet we would both go, oh please, let us reach out to us and let us tell you what not to do. Um, and it was actually tough. The software, some of that we had struggled with moving and combining softwares. We still are
Mm.
working out some of the 2 years later. We're still working out quirks with that, with some of the software that we combined to combine clients and things like that. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing. We just literally
Uh,
took what we both had and then brought it together and then sorted out from there what we would keep or not keep. Um, so that worked on a client side, that worked on a product side, that worked on a pricing side to just keep what we had. And now we've got everything kind of meshed across, right? So it's all interwoven now, and it's a good thing. I'm happy with it. I can step away for a month if I want to, which I just did, or she can step away for, and go super part time when her kids are on summer break because it just works. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
and go on vacations without the laptop, as we mentioned before.
Yes,
I think
yes.
it's something key. I'm sure it was stressful, but I'm happy just to hear that it worked out.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way,
So
I live on the East Coast, and she is like almost halfway across the country. So she's like a time zone and a half away. Like she's far, which has allowed us to service clients on both like across the entire country, across the three time zones, because
all right.
we have that kind of covered, which has been nice. So yeah, we don't see each other often face to face, but we do.
Mm-hmm.
We do once in a couple every couple years we do, but it still works. It still works.
Well, that's it's great to hear. And you said you met her at XeroCon.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. My plans is probably next year. I'll be in XeroCon. Uh, I heard it's a great event to participate. I never had the opportunity, but most likely we're gonna go there next year.
It's a great event.
Uh,
It's very collaborative. It's very uh, just welcoming. It's not competitive. It doesn't feel negative. It doesn't feel, some of those conferences, depending on it can feel that way. This, no, XeroCon's always very educational, very collaborative, very welcoming. It's a good thing.
Great, great. Happy to hear that. And great. Wanted just to finish with and round things up with the last question that I usually ask. The truth is that we already talked about many things, and you gave us you gave yeah, people that are watching in the future many advice. But I'd like to maybe if you can mention or think about a few advice that you'll give other entrepreneurs that are evaluating that possibility of jumping and maybe opening their new accounting firm, their new bookkeeping firm, or maybe just a firm in general. It's true that we create content for accounting firms, for accountants, for this industry. But I'm sure that there might be people uh, in other industries in the same page. Um, what it would be like a good advice that you will tell them, or what would be let me reframe that question. What it would be maybe a good advice that you could give um, Carrie a few years ago that you think it would have been good just to have that advice some time ago. I don't know if that question made sense or
It
not.
does. It does. Don't be in a place of desperation. I think that's a huge one. When you're starting a business, you need to give yourself grace, you need to give yourself space, and you need to give yourself time. It's not going to, in most cases, where you're going to, like if you want to do something in 3 months, okay, yes, that does happen to some people, but the norm is going to be a longer runway. So I always say give yourself a year, 2 years to, make that change or to have that happen. So plan for it, plan well, before you either start it while you're still in your full-time job. Yeah, that's going to be crazy. I know how that goes,
Of
but
course. Mhm.
you got to do it. Either that or put that money aside so that you can take that time. Start lean, stay lean. We've chosen to stay delightfully tiny, we call it. So we don't want hundreds of clients. To me, that's not a mark of success. Again, it's that margin. How much am I keeping? Not how much am I, not my client count, not my revenue count, not my, none of that. So, you know, those are some things I would say to be careful of. Hire last. Throw the tech. Don't hire. Don't throw a person at a problem. Um,
Of course.
and if you are going to hire, that person better be making you money or freeing you up to go make money. Like I don't want to have to be supervising. If I'm supervising that person, if they're an admin person, then that's not what I want to do. But you do want to outsource. I would outsource before I hire. There's so many things I could say, and that's depending on what you're doing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna tell it. I'm gonna say it. If you're ever thinking about nearshoring, you know that you can always talk with Alex, and we can find talent in South America. But I think that was a really good advice. And we've also mentioned few other things during this conversation that I'm sure that could help people that are in this situation. Um, and yeah, I guess that's it for the episode. I wanted just to talk with you about this interesting topics. It was great having you in this episode. And yeah, everyone, if you want to talk and connect with Carrie, you can yeah, contact her directly. We're gonna put her information here, or just go directly to seashorenumbers.com, and you'll be able to get in touch with her. Carrie, it was really nice having you. And yeah, hopefully we can have another conversation in some other time. All right.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me. It was really fun to be on here and to share some of my experiences. So,
Likewise, Carrie. Nice talking with you. Hi, everyone. Have a good night or day or whenever you're seeing this episode. See you. Bye bye.